The U.S. State Department says it's too little, too late after Moscow announced a unilateral pause in fighting in the Syrian city of Aleppo. The humanitarian pause will be in place for 8 hours on Thursday. The UN welcomed the move, but says it doesn't give them enough time to deliver aid to besieged areas. The pause in fighting comes after Russian and regime airstrikes killed at least 50 people in rebel-held areas of Aleppo. The Syrian Observatory for Human Rights says most deaths were in a village west of the city. Joining us now from Gaziantep is Shamim Chowdhury. Shamim, what are the Russians hoping to achieve by suggesting this 8-hour truce?
Annalise, they're saying that these 8 hours will allow the wounded, the sick, many civilians and some rebels to leave the eastern part of Aleppo and move to Idlib. Now, it seems that they are capitalizing on a suggestion by the UN envoy for Syria, Staffan de Mistura, when he announced last week that he would personally escort terrorists out of eastern Aleppo if it meant that the Russians would stop bombing the area. But the Russians have not agreed to any kind of a ceasefire. They have vetoed 5 UN Security Council resolutions on a ceasefire. They say that if they agree to a ceasefire, it'll allow the rebels in East Aleppo to regroup and just come back fiercer than ever before. So they are saying, in a way, it's a concession. This 8-hour window will allow many people. Now, there are 250,000 or so civilians trapped in Aleppo city. They have been for a very long time. They have no access to humanitarian aid, medical assistance, water, or anything else. So they're saying that this window is a concession, will allow many of these civilians to leave. But of course, as you mentioned, the Americans have said that this is too little, too late. And indeed, the EU's foreign policy chief, Federica Mogherini, has also said that, there will be no conclusion until there is a complete ceasefire. Now, the Russians won't agree to this. They are saying that they are only targeting civilians. But of course, there is compelling evidence to suggest that they are targeting civilian areas, hospitals, all sorts of civilian infrastructure, including the latest attack yesterday, Monday, where dozens of people were killed outside in this village that you mentioned, outside of Aleppo, but also within the center of eastern Aleppo itself.
Now, is there any chance this gesture by Russia will at least start to heal its fractured relations with the West?
Well, relations between Russia and the West have been their worst since the Cold War, and in particular with the US. Just last week, US Secretary of State John Kerry said that Russia should be tried for war crimes for its actions in Aleppo, and this was something that was echoed by France. And also Britain has issued some very, very harsh words regarding Russia's actions in Syria at this moment. But it would seem to be a very tiny step in the right direction, even though the US's response to it has been lukewarm, to say the least. But they are at the very least sitting down and talking. Just over the weekend, there was a small meeting in Lausanne in Switzerland. Although it didn't come to any kind of fruitful conclusion, what it tells us is that they are at least willing to sit down. So it would seem like it's a very tiny step in the right direction.
Shamim Chowdhury from Gaziantep, thank you very much for that.